The next day, a lawyer came to see me at the prison. He put the briefcase he was carrying down, introduced himself, and said,
"I've looked over your files. Your case is a tricky one, but I have no doubt that we'll win, as long as you trust me. Now, let's get down to business."
He sat down on the bed and explained to me that there had been some investigation into my private life. The investigators had learned that I had shown insensitivity the day of my mom's funeral.
You understand, it's a little embarrassing for me to have to ask you this, but it's very important. It'll be a very strong argument for the prosecution if I can't come up with some answers. Did you feel any sadness that day?
The question caught me by surprise. Nevertheless, I answered, "I probably did love my mom, but that doesn't mean anything. I mean, at one time or another, all normal people have wished that their loved ones were dead."
Promise me you won't say that at your hearing or in front of the magistrate.
My nature is such that my physical needs often get in the way of my feelings. But what I can say for certain is that I would rather my mom hadn't died.
That's not enough. Can I say that you hid your true emotions that day?
No, because that's not true, and none of this has anything to do with my case.
It's obvious that you have never had any dealings with the law before.
I wished I could have made him stay, to explain that I wanted things between us to be good. Not so that he'd defend me better, but, if I can put it this way, good in a natural way. Shortly after that, I was taken before the examining magistrate again.
Due to unforeseen circumstances, your lawyer was unable to come, but you have the right to remain silent and to wait for your lawyer's counsel.
I could answer for myself.
People were describing you as a taciturn and withdrawn person, and I want to know what you think.
It's just that I don't have much to say, so I keep quiet.
Besides, that's not important. What interests me is you.
I didn't really understand what he meant by that, so I didn't respond. After a short silence, he stood up and told me that he wanted to help me, that I interested him, and that with God's help, he would do something for me. But first, he wanted to ask me a few more questions.
Do you love your mother?
Yes, the same as anyone.
Did you fire all 5 shots at once?
Fired a single shot, and then a few seconds later, the other 4.
Why did you pause between the first and second shot? Why? Why did you shoot at a body that was on the ground? Why? You must tell me. Why? Do you know what this is?
Yes, of course.
I believe in God, and it is my conviction that no man is so guilty that God will not forgive him, as long as he repents and in so doing becomes like a child, whose mind is open and ready to embrace all. Do you believe in God?
No.
No, that's impossible. All men believe in God, even those who turn their backs on him. Do you want my life to be meaningless? I'm a Christian, and I ask him to forgive your sins. How can you not believe that he suffered for you?
Whenever I wanted to get rid of someone I'm not really listening to, I made it appear as if I agreed. To my surprise, he acted triumphant.
You see? You do believe, don't you? And you're going to place your faith into him, aren't you?
No.
The court is now in session.
I didn't quite understand everything that happened next. The drawing of lots for the jury, the questions put by the presiding judge to my lawyer, the prosecutor, and the jury, the quick reading of the indictment, and some more questions to my lawyer. My examination began right away.
Why is it you put your mother in the rest home?
I just didn't have the money to have her looked after or cared for.
Was it hard on you?
Well, Mom and I didn't really expect anything from each other anymore. or from anyone either. We both had just gotten used to our lives.
With the court's permission, I would like to know whether you had gone back to the spring by yourself, intending to kill the heron.
No, it just happened that way. After asking the jury and my lawyer if they had any questions, the judge called the caretaker, and the same ritual was repeated for him as for all the others.
Mersault hadn't wanted to see my mom. He smoked and slept some, and he had some coffee. I knew I was wrong to do it, but I couldn't refuse when Monsieur offered me the cigarette.
Do you have anything else to add?
Nothing, except that the witness here was right. I did offer him a cigarette.
The jury will take note of this fact.
Indeed, and they will conclude that a stranger may offer a cup of coffee, but that by the body of the person who brought him into this world, a son should have refused it.
You understand? I was too sad, so I didn't see anything. My sadness made it impossible to see anything. Because for me, it was a great sadness. And I even fainted. So, I didn't see the Monsieur.
Did you see him not cry?
No.
Here, we have a perfect reflection of this entire trial. Everything is true, and nothing is true.
The same man who on the day after his mother died was indulging in the most shameful debauchery, killed a man for the most trivial of reasons, and did so to settle a matter of unspeakable vice.
Come now, is my client on trial for burying his mother, or for killing a man?
Fundamental and tragic relationship between these two sets of facts. Indeed, I accuse this man of burying his mother with crime in his part.
The trial was adjourned. What awaited me at prison before the trial was always a night of easy, dreamless sleep. And yet, something had changed. Since it was back to my cell that I went to wait for the next day. As if familiar paths traced in summer skies could lead as easily to prison as the sleep of the innocent. For the third time, I've refused to see the chaplain. I don't have anything to say to him. I don't feel like talking, and I'll be seeing him soon enough as it is. All I care about is escaping the machinery of justice, seeing if there's any way out of the inevitable. But when I really thought it through, nothing was going to allow me such a luxury. Everything was against it. I would just be caught up in the machinery again. At times like these, I remembered a story my mom used to tell me about my father. I never knew him. Maybe the only thing I did know about the man was the story my mom would tell me back then, that he'd gone to watch a murderer be executed. When he came back, he spent about half the day throwing up. I remember feeling a little disgusted by him at the time. How had I not seen that there was nothing more important than an execution? And when you come down to it, it was the only thing a man could truly be interested in.
Why have you refused to see me?
I don't believe in God.
Are you sure?
I don't find the need to ask myself that question. It's unimportant.
Sometimes we think we're sure when we're actually not. What do you think?
It's possible.
Are you speaking like this out of extreme despair? If you are, then God can help you. Every man I have known in your position has turned to Him.
Well, that is their right, and that must mean that they have time for it. But as for me, I don't want anyone's help. I don't have time For what interests me if it doesn't interest me?
My friend, we are all condemned to die. But if you don't die today, then you'll die tomorrow, or the next day. And the same question will arise. How can you face that terrible ordeal?
I'll face it as I'm facing it now.
Have you no hope at all? Do you really live with the notion that when you die and nothing remains? You're wrong, my son. More could be asked of you. You could be asked to see. Deep in my heart, I know even the most wretched of you have seen a divine face emerge from their darkness. That is the face you are asked to see. I refuse to believe you. I know that at one point in your life, you have wished for another life.
Yes, but that is no different from wanting to be rich, to swim faster, or to have a more nicely shaped mouth, mister.
Why are you calling me mister and not father?
Father? You're not my father. You're not even on my side.
Yes, my son, I am on your side, but you have no way of knowing it, for your heart is blind. I shall pray for you.
You can't pray for me. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing. As if that blind rage had ridden me of hope. For the first time, I opened myself to the gentle indifference of the world, for everything to be consummated. I had only to wish that there be a large crowd of spectators on the day of my execution, and that they greet me with cries of hate.
Mersault, have you always been alone? Mersault, have you never loved again? Love will live on, life must go on, for you cannot spend your life regretting. Mersault, you must face another day. Mersault, now your love has gone away. Once you loved her, now you've lost her, but you've lost her forever. Mersault.